Welcome back, everybody. To those of you I saw earlier this morning, I hope you had a lovely day. I've just been thinking about the Nintendo Direct all day. And then I had one of those work days where I did immediately go into a meeting like an hour after we ended stream, and then I was in that call until the end of the workday. So it was one of those meeting days where I had to do a bunch of stuff at the same time, but all I could think about was, oh my god, Tomodachi Life is back on the menu, baby. So my brain is a little rotted. For those of you that like the Nintendo Direct reactions, don't worry, we've got another one. This one was the small Nintendo Direct, is the crazy thing. The big one is going to hit next Wednesday, and it will be a bit earlier in the morning, so I should be able to do a 2-hour stream for that, and do a little bit longer of a decompressing and analyzing session afterwards, and not worry about rushing into work so much. But I will have to get up earlier as a result, so who knows what state I'll be in. But that one's exciting. We are going to make a bingo card and kind of get hyped up for that on Sunday's stream, along with playing our Tears of the Kingdom 100% playthrough. We've been doing side quests for those stream things, and I've been trying to do Korok seeds and stuff off stream. But we'll have to see what mood we're feeling in. Maybe, depending on how many people are in the stream, I could throw it up to a poll on Sunday. On whether we do the duo Korok seeds where you have to deliver the Korok and we torture Koroks all day, if there's a certain type of side quest we do, if we go monster hunting or armor collecting, we could see what type of activity we want to do on Sunday's stream. And then our next stream is on Saturday. We'll be streaming both days this weekend this week. We'll be starting up a Sims 3 file, since we've have a Miitopia file, a Sims 1 and 2 file, and a Sims 4 file for our channel lore characters, the dynamics with Patrick and Eggman getting married, and then Princess Peach and Bayonetta's first engagement and first divorce happening in the same stream, even though they've already gotten married and then died in our Sims 4 playthrough. If you're invested in that lore, we're definitely putting all of those characters from Miitopia back into Tomodachi Life. Hence why I've been wanting it on Switch so badly. It's perfect for our channel. But in the meantime, we've been playing through all of the Sims games, and I do want to try out one of the new Sims competitors, Inzoi. I think it goes into early access this week, but we're gonna wait to play it until we get through all our rotation of Sims games we currently have. So a few more weeks on that, but we're gonna jump into Sims 3 on Saturday for if you are a Life Sim fan or just a fan of chaos streams in general. But yeah, I hope you all have had a lovely day. We are going to be doing another quick stream, just an hour or two, and we're going to be doing some more blockout work here. We had a bit of a bit of a rough stream yesterday. I don't know. I look like I'm on 12 different drugs. I was not on anything, I can assure you, other than coffee, of course. But yeah, we had a lot of bugs and stuff. I hadn't set up the level as properly as I thought I had. And on top of that, I just looked off, and then as well, I started getting a headache by the end of it, so it just ended up being a big thing. However, the two major bugs we ran into yesterday were with the landscape and with the game mode, which I didn't even think to consider that. I hadn't set up the game mode yet, so I didn't know what it was, but we had a spawning issue where the game wasn't playing properly, and that's just because if you're using the Lyra template, you have to go into your world settings for each map, or at least each persistent map, and you have to set the default gameplay experience. In this case, we're using the shooter game elimination mode, which is the same mode we've used for our past Lyra projects as well. So we just set that there. now it's working as intended, at least for now. And then for the landscape issue, I think maybe my defaults got changed or something. Our landscape was set to like a very low resolution, so that's why it was modeling in such sharp, jagged edges, is because we did not give it any more pieces to model with. I think, yeah, this was set to 7x7 quads. For me personally, because I like to get into the details even though I'm not an artist. I like to get picky with the landscape at least. So I like 127 by 127. So I resized that. It solved a lot of issues with this, and potentially a lot of issues with our lake landscape as well, but I kind of like it just sitting there, so we're gonna leave it. Also, hello there, Natsack. How are you doing this evening? But yeah, for those that don't know, we have been remaking, not that I'm ever gonna monetize or like build and publish any of this stuff, but as an educational study, since I am a level designer in the industry, but I like to do some for fun personal work as well. We are remaking some arenas from Kid Icarus Uprising. I would love it if Nintendo announced a remake of this next week. But in the off chance that they don't because they hate me, it's fine. I just said screw it. We're gonna start remaking some of the levels ourselves. So we've already been working on a early art pass. I actually have a art 1.5 of this done that I can put screenshots of. But we've been working on one level, the Forgotten City arena, and now we are moving on to the Spiral Tower one, which we realized the top down kind of looks like a Yoshi a bit in the paper design. Never played Kid Icarus. That's why I need Nintendo to port it or something so badly. So many people haven't played it because it was kind of just on the 3DS, and unfortunately, I try to vouch for the control scheme. I have a lot of fun with it. The way you like have to hold your 3DS to play it. I do think I have permanent hand damage from it though. So as much as I try to defend it, and I usually try to defend wacky control schemes, it might be better to have a more modern control scheme of it. Because yeah, it's the way you have to hold the DS in the palm of like your left hand, and then you have to kind of crouch your right hand over a bit to compensate for that, and I can still feel it in my hand. So it might have a small tiny flaw in the gameplay there, but yeah, I love doing arena designs. These arenas are all like pretty simple, but I think that's the beauty of finding like, well, why did I love them so much as a kid, when the reality is they're pretty simple layout wise. So these are questions I feel like can only be answered by building it myself. We did this similarly with a Wallace and Gromit game that was on the GameCube. We remade that when I first started using Unreal 5 and made the jump from 4 to 5. So we remade a level from that to help learn the differences. That was a lot of fun. Let's go up. I think, yeah, we don't have nav mesh, so I don't think they're just spawning at the origin right now. Don't shoot, don't shoot. But this is our first like hour of blockout work. I think we streamed for 2 hours, but an hour of that was just me very tired on yesterday's stream and being like, huh, and forgetting what I do for a job professionally. So kind of more like an hour into blockout work, I would say. But now that we have the landscape resized, all these like harsh edges here, or all the places where we couldn't really get the creases right and we couldn't really get the ramping and stuff smoothed out, we can kind of handle that today. And now that we have the game mode set up, actually, we can use the, we can test out our jump pads a little bit better. Like this one we can now, I think, maybe adjust more. should we fix this? That's fine. That's fine. Oh, recreate the Neverwinter Academy? But you don't know what you're doing? Hey, that's your chance to find out. Best way to find what you're doing is just to make a lot of mistakes. That's how I got here. Oh yeah, we're gonna need to clean this whole side. Got really messed up prior to the resize. This is gonna need a whole polish pass. This too, oh my gosh. And then once we have the landscape a bit more polished, we'll trim the edges down, and lower them into like a kill Z volume, which I think is how they actually handle the vista in the original screenshots. Yeah, it's kind of like mountainy in the distance, but it drops down immediately around the arena. I was literally just looking at aha, there we go. Yeah, so there's mountains in the distance, but the actual borders of the arena are a steep drop down, so we're like kind of cut and drop and flatten those spaces really low. I used to work with some guys that did Neverwinter, so it was really cool to see their design process spill over into other projects. I admittedly have a bit of a MMO, not anymore, for job purposes, because I would love to work on an MMO and like the life sim side of it especially. But in terms of the combat side of it, I do have arena experience. That's my bread and butter. So I would love to work on an MMO one day. It's kind of a bucket list thing. But in terms of playing them, I get really bad social anxiety. Neverwinter's the one I think I've stuck with the most. I'll occasionally boot it up still. And I put the most hours into that as a teenager. But yeah, I think I put like a good, which in terms of MMO is like low numbers, but a few dozen hours into just like the early game and just walking around and learning how that stuff even worked. Oh, playing WoW. Another banger. WoW's actually the one I think I've played the least. But yeah, I've played the Neverwinter MMO the most, and then I got invited into a guild and they were all really nice. They were like, hey, like, we've seen you, we really liked playing with you in that dungeon, like, if you're a new player, please join our guild, we'll like teach you all the ropes. And I did accept it, and then first thing they said to me in there was like, hello, and I turned off the console. I got such bad anxiety, and I turned off my console and I didn't like play it again for months because I felt like I had a social obligation all of a sudden, and I'm like, this is too much responsibility for me. I can't do this anymore. And then I tried to pick up New World because I have a lot of former coworkers that worked on that, and they've done incredible work on it. So I picked it up early on and tried to give it a go so I could see like their work and stuff. And then as soon as I got out of the tutorial area, like someone walked up to me, like an actual person, I realized that not an NPC, walked up to me and said hello. And again, I just turned off the game and I was like, because that's the thing, I feel bad like if I start talking to someone and I'm like, oh, I have to go like eat or drink water or something. It's like, oh, okay, I thought we were friends, you just ruined my whole day by leaving. Like, I get that type of anxiety that's where the interaction will head. And I'm like, I don't know when I'll pick up an MMO and when I'll put it back down again for me. But the most recent one I played was, I did play a little bit of the acclaimed FF14 when I was on the job hunt last year. Not that I was applying directly for a team to work on that, but just because I was looking at MMO places and I'm like, well, everyone talks about FF14 having like the greatest comeback ever. In terms of like from launch to present day and being able to build that community, so I might as well see what all the hype's about. And I could see the hype. I really, really enjoyed it a lot. To the point that I'm like, I do think I need to, like, play a little bit more of it. At least, like, maybe 1 or 2 expansions of it. Bucket list. Because I was able to play a lot more single player than I thought I'd be able to. So that was really nice that I was able to just go and play it on my own. Without having to worry about any like social obligations or anything or letting people down. I just got to like be me and exist, so that was really fun. And then I did have an interaction with another player, but how it went was that I was just doing some of the early level like quests and level grinding and stuff, so I was taking a while to destroy some enemies, and I started getting into a bit of trouble and getting backed into a corner. And just this big like beefy dude just like runs by the road, sees me, and goes and just like almost one-shots the enemy, lets me get the kill, and then they emote on them, give me an item, and then they just keep walking and they're just on their way. And I was like, I just met a hero. I just met like a folklore hero. And I've even brought that up in like interviews and stuff. I remember being like, that I think is like the best feeling that an introverted online player can get. Is like feeling like they're meeting these mythical like heroes and viewing the other players as like these other adventurers just on the road, instead of having like the immersion broken by being like, oh, these are people in real life that may or may not be mean to me. But just, you're all travelers, you're all adventurers out on the land. I am tempted to, if I were to pick up FF14 again, to stream it, even though that would kind of break the veil of me saying I have social anxiety about that stuff. That would kind of make it a social commitment. So that's why I'm not doing it anytime soon, but maybe one day. Like on the channel right now, we're playing Elden Ring, and I'm very bad at it. But I also said, like, I was also terrified to ever stream it because I knew I'd be bad at it, but everyone wanted to see it, and it's actually a lot more fun now that I'm getting into it. I'm seeing, like, the hype around it. Terrible at Elden Ring. Join the club, join the club. I did spend like an hour customizing my character and oohing and ahhing at her, only for like a giant helmet to be covering her entire face and for her pigtails to be put up in the helmet. So I was like, oh. Now what? I'm like so tempted to use the armor that's prettier, even though I know that'll get us killed. But it's pretty. Let's see, do we have a nav? Okay, we do have a nav volume. Give me that. Give me that nav volume. A little lopsided on the nav volume. I'm not gonna build it yet because we're gonna do a few more revisions. Let's see, what was I yapping about yesterday wanting to do first? We need to place kind of the only cover this mode has for this map is like some stacked up rocks and such. Because this mode like doesn't need as much cover as the Lyra mode does, unfortunately. So what we're going to do probably next week's stream is we're gonna still be revising our blockout, but more in a what does a third-person shooter deathmatch need versus a Kid Icarus Light v Dark mode need for an arena. So we did this for our previous blockout too, where we spent the first like couple blockout streams blocking it out as close to exactly as we could get it to the original thing, and then we had a stream where we made a cover revision level that had some pieces of cover that aren't in the original game but made it much easier to play in this mode we're using for Unreal Engine 5. Cause yeah, I think I marked it on the paper design too. The total amount of like these little, almost like snowmen, but they're little boulders. There are 5 of those. That's all. That's all you get. There are 5 pieces of snowman cover to be had. So that's lovely. I think we'll need a bit more. To be fair, it is a landscape map as well, so they do have a bit of verticality that helps you. But I think that's one of the rougher parts of this transition here, will be getting that all figured out. Okay, let me smooth out the landscape a bit first. Actually, I'll pull this up and I'll keep it on the side of the screen so that I can see what I'm working on. But in general, I think I'm going to start keeping these level design streams. I want to do like chill streams for weekdays, like whether they're all game dev or maybe sneaking in occasional like level grinding ones for like whatever current playthroughs we're doing, like could be possible. Oh, I forgot my notifications for loud. Thank you, Natsack, for the follow. Oh, I keep them loud so I'll acknowledge them. But yeah, I think I want to do these more frequently because we do the weekend ones with our variety and our like 5-hour gameplay streams, which are my favorites. But as a level designer, these like chill streams to end the day, even though I do level design all day at work, just being able to do personal work and just like feel free to mess up and be goofy and just try new ideas even if they don't work, like that's nice. So I want to do like more shorter streams throughout the week that are just 1 to 2 hours, but we have enough energy to do them as we have the availability each week. Like there's some weeks where I'm just busy, like last week 2 tornadoes, 2 days that snowed, 2 days that there was bad heat wave all on separate days, food poisoning, taking Cat to the vet across 3 days. And then I think the week ended. So a week like that, I wasn't able to. I didn't have the availability to do weekday streams as much. But a week like this, that's a little more calm and standard. Able to do. I think getting back to like 2 weeknight streams again would be nice, especially since I'm uploading these to YouTube as well now for like a permanent VOD collection. It's just nice to put game dev content out there. I guess let's start with the landscaping around here. I've got a screenshot of looking from the top of the tower down at this first like entry spawn area. So I think we can. I'm actually already. Let's set a very low flattened target already of something like. Let's do -800. Let's put it back there. Yeah, that should be low enough. Turn the tool strength down a little bit, but up the brush size. So we're just gonna lower you. Just around the edges here. You're not getting away from me. Come here. Oh dang, that's like anchored in place. As you were, sir. I'll deal with you some other time. So why are you doing that? Oh, he's locked in. We'll let him be, we'll let him be. Let's make the brush size much tinier. So in terms of the shape back here, it actually juts out a little more this way, so let me do that a bit. Smooth it. Slow down my camera. See, it comes back out here to make it a little more circular. And then we're basically gonna take a little chunk out, do this again. This water won't be back here when we finalize it, because this is just more of like the lake brush, but for now, I'm gonna leave it until I decide if I want to do more with the water tool or not. It'll look a little jank today, but we're not art passing quite yet. We're actually doing landscape work now, since I don't know what I was doing yesterday. Maybe the universe just like soft locked my ability to get work done until Tomodachi Life was announced, and now I'm cured. I can do anything again. We have a small cut here. I think my sister was like busy with work, because it took a while for her to get back to me. And then when she did, she's like, oh my god. She has also been waiting on Tomodachi Life for Switch. She's like a she's a cozy gamer, but she also likes murder mysteries and Yakuza, so she's one of those cozy gamers. But yeah, Tomodachi Life is also like up her alley. It's the perfect blend of like the types of games we both like in the life sim genre. So we both played it a lot growing up. And that's like the #1 thing that she's asked me every Nintendo Direct is, where's Tomodachi Life? She expects because I work in games, she's like, so you know? And I'm like, if I knew, I would not be sitting here right now. I would break into Nintendo and play it myself. Like, if I knew that information, everybody would know that information. I do not work at Nintendo. But yeah, she's been waiting on this for, I think they said it's been over 10 years since the last Tomodachi Life entry. And she's been asking me when the next one will come, like, since the Switch one dropped in 2017. So, a very happy day, indeed. Make this a little tighter. A little slimmer. And then I think, looking at this picture, there's actually a small ramp up on this side dipping into the pool. So if we pick this height and just kind of do this. There we go. If I can just use the ramp tool a bit. Let's use it a bit, just roughly, in these areas, and then we're gonna smooth it out. Yeah, I was definitely thinking of putting like a new Rhythm Heaven and a new Tomodachi Life on my Switch 2 Direct bingo card. So now I'm like, huh. Well, if they announce that, because that's pretty big news for people that are Nintendo fans at least. So I'm like, if they announce that here, then what are they gonna talk about on Wednesday? So we'll see. I think definitely I feel like we're getting into early Nintendo Direct predictions now. So I may change my mind by Sunday. I feel like the opener could definitely be, since they already announced Mario Kart 9 basically. I feel like the opener could be more details on that. And then one more thing could be a new 3D Mario game. Was that? I'm trying to remember what the Switch 1's first direct was. We might have to do some looking back at previous directs. Stars stream Sunday. I feel like I remember Mario Odyssey being and one more thing to like close out a show. And it might be because we get so much there's so many Mario franchises and we get so much Mario content and he's constantly the face of the franchise, but 3D Mario has not had a brand new full game since Mario Odyssey in 2017, so I think it's definitely time that they're gonna announce another one. Not necessarily, I don't think it will be a sequel to Odyssey. I think it will be a brand new title, not like any of the previous ones. I don't think it'll be a sequel to anything. If I could have one, a Mario Galaxy 3 would be really, really nice, but I don't think I'll ever see that, tragically. Only way I could see a Mario Galaxy 3 is if I don't think Super Mario Movie 2 will cover Rosalina stuff. I think it'll focus on like Yoshi's Island, it seems like, and maybe some stuff with Daisy. I could see that happening too. They did hint at there's many worlds out there, alluding to either the Nintendo cinematic universe like Smash Bros, or more likely Rosalina. And at the time they were doing a lot more stuff with Rosalina in the Mario franchise anyway. So I could see them doing a third Mario movie and having it be Mario Galaxy themed, and then to tie in with that they make a Super Mario Galaxy 3. That's the only way I kind of see them doing. They don't usually do direct sequels to Mario 3D platformers, much less a third one. So otherwise I've let that dream go a little bit, but that's because Nintendo's best at innovation, so certainly not upset with them. It just means they have something new and cool to show us. Okay, so if we're up here and we see this is like around here. Actually, the water can stretch back a little more. The water goes a bit deeper back in here than I thought it did. What do we have? What are you? we need to move the, the lake back a little bit too. But yeah, we can do it like that. Give me the lake. Let me see if I can position this in a way that... Okay, that covers most of it pretty well. Ah, I'm not ready for foliage yet. Ah! Please! Don't brick my new PC. Saw the menu pull up and I'm like, oh god. It's over. Okay. So we do, the border does close around the edge of the little pool here. Come here. See how smooth the brush is when you set up the landscape to the appropriate size? Like this feels nice. It just feels lovely. Actually, we could probably just adjust the splines for the lake after this. I know you can run around. I don't think you can run that far back behind the tower in this map. I do have my 3DS right beside me with the map booted up. I suppose I could open my reference. Let me just quickly finish blocking out this. Actually, I don't know if I have a photo of that. If you guys see me looking down, it's because I got my 3DS. Just, it's been loaded on this for like weeks just in this map, so I don't have to go back. I'm surprised it hasn't crashed. I guess when you do like a local room and it's all computer players, it just will run forever. Hopefully this doesn't brick my 3DS, having it just running this perpetually. That would make me cry, but for science. Oh, I can't see where it cuts off. Let me look at it from this angle. Okay, from this angle, yeah, you have a little bit of wiggle room and then it cuts back in pretty sharply. I'm just gonna already preemptively just cut this edge down. Look how shiny it is, wow. Stop killing me! I'm trying to research. It's a very thin and narrow pathway. I think actually I have it going up. I think it dips down a little bit. Like it might be -50, -60. Well, that gets into the water territory. We can fix that. Yeah, it doesn't actually ramp up like I thought it did, and because of that, we don't need all this. It actually does flare up out here. And then it's like a harsh cutoff. Yeah, this ramps both ways. So this is like an all direction type of ramp setup. Oh, that's much better. That's much better. Okay, then once you're up here, what's the shape like? I think there's actually a little cutout back here to make this part feel like it's jutting out more, so yeah, where I have it being a little too strong, where I have it being raised, it's actually just a cutout portion of the map. That makes sense. That makes sense. Wow. I think this part here is raised a little bit. Oh, I thought that was the smooth tool. I know that looks like I did nothing, but in my mind I did something there. Okay, and this ramp isn't as one-directional as I thought either. It does go from here to here. Also kind of goes from here to here pretty smoothly. Hence why there's a bump there. So yeah, there's a smoother path up here than I thought. Right? Am I right in thinking that? I think this part here is a little lower than I anticipated too. It like keeps slipping down, so we're going to take slightly lower estimate. Flatten it at the ends. And then we're gonna take another slightly lower estimate. Flatten it at the end. Now we're gonna smooth it. Smooth it all around. Though I think this edge is pretty defined, so we'll then reflatten for like this height. For that. It is hard to replicate landscape without a free camera off of a 3DS. I will say that. maybe there's some reasons they haven't ventured into remaking this. But they'd have more tools and software than I'm using right now. I'm gonna flatten this out to be more defined. Because it is a pretty harsh, yeah, it is a pretty harsh crease there. That'll work for now for this area. Yeah, there's kind of not anything that happens back here. It's always been, if you get back here, it's a corner of death. If it looks like a horrible place to be, it's 'cause it is. Someone's jumping me there right now as we speak. I think it does end in more of a point out here. So just flatten it like that. It's so flat. Oh my goodness. Is there any verticality I can give to it? I think it's slightly taller than it is over here, so what we can do is we can smooth this part out a lot more than I thought we'd need to. Oh, not that much. Now let's smooth this part out. Let's do a ramp from like here to up here. Raise it a bit. That really didn't accomplish much. This could be, I think this will end up being part of our revision pass, is adding something up here. Spicing it up in some way that still feels true to the original vision. But yeah, this corner has kind of always been a bit wacky. Do the stronger tool strength removal process. Okay, and then I think for the rest of this we can just take all of this out. Right in there. Zoom. Oh, Metroid Prime 4 looks so good, you guys. I wasn't planning on streaming that, and I don't know when I'll get it. Because admittedly, I'm really bad at Metroid games, but Metroid Dread changed my life. I like waited. I'd always played a little bit of several Metroid games, but never actually like beaten them because they're hard. They're difficult. But I waited for Dread. I love the lore behind, like, does Metroid Dread, is it a real game that exists or not? Is it canceled? Will we ever see it? Oh my gosh, that announcement was like top game announcements of all time to me. And then when it came out, we streamed it. And I was like, I don't know if we'll be able to beat it, but I do want to play as much of it as I can because I'm really excited about this game. It's simultaneously like one of the harder Metroid games, but the tutorialization and the flow of the map is so good that I went from being horrible at it to being able to not only beat it, but I 100% the game as well. Not on hard, of course, but still, there's some very tricky things to pull off to get a 100%, and I was so dedicated to learning it because it was just so incredible to me. So I've personally, which feels weird to say as like a 3D level designer, but I've personally always enjoyed playing the 2D Metroids, but Metroid Prime is like another industry-defining franchise. In terms of how they handle the transitions from like first person to third person is like such a clever way to handle, like, we want to have first person combat and the first person like ability to see info, but also it's hard to see that in first person. It's hard to get other bits of info, and it would be better to see like the morph ball and like to actually get that effect. Like, how do we translate all these cool things from the Metroid universe that you want to see in third person, but we want to do a first person game? So coming up with the idea of pulling the camera back when you're rolling around, it's just the way they pace like the intros to each Prime game is just chef's kiss. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far for Prime 4. I'd love to work on a Metroid Prime game one day, but I've heard Retro Studios is really good to work at, and that's why there's like never any job openings, is because people like it and they are able to stay there, which especially in this industry is really good, but I'm like, damn. So it's just impossible. I do know somebody that I went to college with that's like incredible work and got to, I think, do a contract with them. So that's really awesome. Video games are cool. Nintendo Directs just put me in this goofy mood. I'm like, video games are cool. Video games are alright. Which you think you'd feel every day, especially with streaming being like my biggest hobby and then my full-time career being working on games. But sometimes you have days where you're like, damn, this kind of hard. This kind of a lot of difficulty for video games. But then you have other days like today where you like see all the work other people have done in the game space and you're like, wow, I'm inspired. So whenever there's a Nintendo Direct, I feel like those are the good days. It's just remembering the motivating factor. Let me see if I can just select these splines in here. Are you going to be difficult, or are you gonna let me just... Okay, it should be easy. Where's the other one? You don't need to be over here. Come here. Please. I just want the water to fill the space that it inhabits. That's pretty good. I can live with that. Alright, we're getting somewhere. Hour into stream. Alright, I think we'll focus on the rocks next, and then maybe we'll do like a nav build and do a little bit of playtesting with it. Because there's some features like, I think the next features we'll be getting into are more of the, even though this is pretty rough still blockout wise, but it is mostly landscape and we've done mostly landscape work. So I think we'll want to have some stuff wait for next week when we do the alterations to the map for Lyra, including the cover pass and the gameplay change I want to make here that we haven't done already. There is one we've done already with this. The other gameplay change I want to make is in the main campaign of Kid Icarus Uprising, there are hot springs available to you that are at like knee-high level, and you stand in them and you recharge health, and the characters banter about like hot spring etiquette and whatnot. But they don't ever utilize that, to my knowledge of playing a bunch of this. I think I did this already. I ran over after taking damage and stood in the water, but to my knowledge, yeah, they don't really do this with the arena modes at all. They don't take advantage of that idea. Also, this water's still probably a little too tall. Let me lower it a bit. But yeah, since Lyra, the NPCs can just kind of headshot you, and it kind of sucks. I want to have, there's like a recharging pad available, so I want to kind of optimize it a little bit more for a big space off stream. But what I want to do is basically at the same height we have the lake spline, copy over that and place this healing volume that will slowly increase your health, like maybe a point at a time, while you're standing in the area. So that way the hot spring mechanic is something from the original Kid Icarus Uprising. Technically there's two Kid Icarus games in the franchise before Uprising, but Uprising's really, the other ones were like 2D side scrollers, and this one was like Star Fox and combat and emotional and wonderful. Wow, no notes. But yeah, I think it will be cool to make a change that will benefit our Unreal template that we're using more, but still something that ties to the original experience. But what we can do is we can place a kill Z volume in here. And what a kill volume is, it's called a Z volume because it is the height volume, I believe. I could just be making that up, but I don't know why else it'd be called that. But the reason you want to have a kill volume under your maps, even if you think you have the boundaries of the map blocked out and you're like, oh, there's no way they'll get outside of the map, place one under your maps anyway, because sometimes you have bugs if you're using a landscape, sometimes you forget to block an area off, sometimes you do and then changes happen and it becomes unblocked. But if there is any instance where your player falls through the map, it is much nicer for them to get a game over and respawn than to be stuck falling through the map forever, and it either crashes their game and they lose all their progress, or they have to force quit the game or reload a checkpoint. and they lose all their progress. So it still sucks to like die and respawn, but it's a much faster and more controlled option rather than just hoping that they don't encounter any bugs. It's good to have fail-safes in place instead of being like, well, I'll never have a bug in my game. If you're making a level and you're thinking, I don't need to do that, my stuff isn't bugged, then I do have to wonder if you've released anything or if you've ever had your stuff play tested, because there's always a bug. It'll drive you insane because there will be bugs you didn't even know were possible. I've worked on AAA stuff and I've gotten some bugs that were like, hey, my buddies and I jumped on each other's like foreheads and then we like did this weapon combo at the same time and we both sneeze and cast a spell, and now we are clipping through the top of the blocking volume and we're standing on top of the clouds to the arena. And I'm reading this in like the middle of the night. It came in from like some outsourced QA and I'm like, how did they do that? And they're like, we've repro'd it 5 times to prove that it wasn't an accident. And I'm like, what? So you never know when stuff will break. Yeah, we'll go ahead and test that out here quickly to prove my point. Make sure that it killed us. It does its job. Okay, must have auto-built the nav, that's good. Let's test how runnable this water. Ah, that's knee height. Yeah, that'll work. Let's try walking back here. For Lyra, actually, maybe we could extend this out slightly more. We should smooth- I forgot to smooth it back here, so we should do that. We've got our spiral tower itself. We do need to add our rocks in. That'll be one of the last things we do today. This thing has railings, but I kind of want to find like a rock spline railing. So we'll either do that next week or I'll do it off stream and show you guys, or I might just forget until the art pass. But I do notice it in all the screenshots, so we will get done at some point in the next month. Can I headshot you? Ooh. Wow. What is a bro down here running around about? Oh. Did you see that? Oh, he on his way. But yeah, cool. That looks like that's all working. Let me smooth out that landscape path we talked about, and then we're going to place... Let me get rid of you. What are you doing? And then we'll place a few, rocks. And then after that, I will call it a night. Sounds like my partner started some laundry, so I'll help with that. Also, I just cleaned and took out the trash before stream, but I gotta make a like phone reminder. It's too late now, so I don't want to run the vacuum, and the trash can was already full anyway, but I gotta vacuum sometime tomorrow. My cat like went on a litter box spree and like tracked litter throughout the whole like hallway. Which I realize a new pet peeve I'm developing about that, and a new regret about the laundry room being directly across from the bathroom, and the laundry room usually being where I put litter boxes, is he tracks litter through there a lot in the hallway, unlike the carpet. And then you get out of the shower with your wet feet, and you step on the carpet because I have to turn to go into the bedroom, and... We even have like a little hand vacuum to get it when it's like we just want to quickly pick up some litter, but he's been sick, so we've just been kind of keeping an eye on the litter box itself instead of worrying about constantly cleaning because he was getting sick for a while, but now that he's like on some antibiotics and stuff, I think I'll clean that hallway tomorrow, cause he a stinky boy. This landscape. Okay. We did that. Oh yeah, I was gonna mention, the other gameplay change we did is this spiral tower. So in the concepts, or not the concepts, in the actual 3DS game, this tower, there's one really clear shot of the tower. My shout out cup drinker on YouTube, that is my cousin. He took all these photos because his 3DS was modded. And I have not gotten around to modding mine yet because I bought concert tickets, then the cat got sick, and I need a new phone, and then I don't know when Nintendo's gonna drop the Switch too, so the 3DS modding keeps, or not even modding, I know you can mod it for free, but the capture card installation I want to do keeps getting pushed back on the priority list a bit, but my cousin took plenty of level screenshots, so honestly we're probably set on content we can make throughout like the year before I'd really need to like if I wanted to do all the arenas in the game, before I'd really need to get my own stuff going. So he has bought us a little bit of time with that. But if we look at this tower here, part of the appeal of the spiral tower is that it's actually, the spiral isn't fully complete. It's broken here, and then it's broken on the pathway up to the top. So there are 2 jump pads that you can use to get to the top. However, Lyra, at least by default on load, unless my project is corrupted or something, but here's the thing about Unreal's Lyra. It's great to use if you don't want to change anything at all about it, or if you're super experienced with Unreal programming specifically. Not even just Unreal, not even just programming, specifically Unreal programming, and you know how to manipulate the system. Because I've worked with professional like tech people and programmers that are like, please don't make me use Lyra again. So there's something about it that scares even the higher ups. But if you want to change anything, it gets a little tricky, which is what we've been running into here and with our portfolio piece we did with this template last year. Actually, we ran into some issues with the AI does not want to jump. They like to jump down, but they do not like to use the jump pads by default. And that's a core mechanic of this map. So the current workaround we're doing, originally I was just going to make the spiral 100% complete and be like, you know what, they can just you'll be able to fully run up it, and maybe I'd have some optional jump pads for the player, but that way the AI could use it and it could play normally even if it doesn't have the same feel. But the solution I ended up coming up with was the spiral brush is a BSP anyway that you can edit before baking it. So we took some chunks out and turned it into some debris here. So it's very out of the way and cumbersome for the player, especially if we have a jump pad right here that'll get you to the top much faster. I need to play with the values on it a bit more, but eventually it'll work how I want it to, I'm sure. But the AI will have, they do. I wasn't sure if it actually baked correctly, but the AI it's a very narrow path, granted, but they do have a path up to the top to get you anyway. But the player still has a visually, that fast, like, oh, I need to use this to get up here, instead of running up here. And then they have this jump pad here that'll take them to the other side of the debris. And this one goes right to the top as is in the game. So that is the current solution we have for that. So yesterday's stream wasn't a complete failure, because that, like, the little debris pieces, and like especially when we duplicated the stairs and added them as like a thickness support underneath, and the little red for the flag even though it's not moving, that feels good. That felt good to get in. I felt like that all read the way I imagined and wanted it to, which is the goal of blockouts. Is they're pretty ugly. They can be a little confusing at first, hence why iteration's important, but the idea is you get your ideas across, and then you can work on making them functional, and then you can work on making them pretty after that. But the most important part is just you have an idea. Especially when you work in a team, you're the designer, but you're also incorporating everyone else's idea and spinning it up into one cohesive thing. But since you're the one cooking it up, no one else can see that until you put it into some ugly ass cubes on the screen. So I think the debris is not super ugly. I like it. But yeah. Let's round things out here with, do I want to use BSP spheres for this? Might as well, so that way I can play with, some of the stuff on it. Let's see, where do we have these rocks in my stuff? In the top down here. Okay, so we've got a this one here is kind of a bit smaller, I want to say. Actually, you know what? This can dip back a little further. I know we just switched from landscape finally to the BSPs again, but this can go out a little further and a little bit higher, I think. Ooh. Don't do that. So that way we can move the spawn points back a bit more, and this placement will make a little more sense too. Raise that up, re-flatten stuff back here. And now let's re-smooth everything out. Okay, maybe smooth wasn't the way to go. Let me ramp first. It's minor, but yeah, I think that works. I'm gonna drag these 3 spawns back up here. Okay, so now we can bring this guy, this first bit of cover right there. I do think so for the top 2 rocks in each of these stacks, I will just use the basic shapes so that saves on time a little bit. Wonder, do I already have like a rock material? Oh, we do have some of these from the kit. the other kit. I don't think any of them will work on this sphere though. Alas, I don't think any of them are set up quite correctly. And I don't think we have any starter content in here because I didn't want to bloat the project. We have dirt. Landscape dirt material. Oh, that's not gonna work. Where is this at? Oh, is this supposed to be like... Oh, this is the basement for the water? Sure, you know what? Why not? Why not? Actually, no. I'm just going to do the safer bet. Where's my... Where did we put my details panel? Let's find wherever I have like a good... like safe material color. Hello? I have the blue at. Where's that? Template resources. Let's do a little magic switcheroo here. Template base brown. Oh, it doesn't have a color changer on here. Dang it, I thought it would. Oh, it does. It's glowing a little bit, but we'll worry about that later. She's glowing, but you know what? We probably will actually focus on mostly materials and our own custom shapes for this map compared to using an art kit for our kit bashing stuff. So it might just be like a good old mega scans trip. Got some rocks there. Excellent. Looking at it now and realizing this juts out a little bit more too. Ah! I'm being picky, but that's what I must do. I must be picky before I forget next week. Flatten that. Yeah, that works, that works. Oh, there's a flattened piece that cuts in this direction too. That'll help define this section over here. Just gonna make that a harsh edge. do that. Perfect, perfect. Okay, where are these other 2 pieces of cover? I know there's one up on here. Make it a bit bigger. Is there one in the center? Let me see. I have one marked in the center. There is! Wow. Okay, and there's not even actually technically a 4th rock, I guess. Also, this one kind of leans a little more this way. And there's one positioned in front of... I think it's where this, like, crease is. It kind of blocks line of sight to the bottom of the tower, I think is its purpose. And it kind of leans the other way. Is it right against the... No, there's a little space to walk around, so I think right exactly where we put the water manager. I just was marking that for later. So we can turn this, let's make this, yeah, let's add some roughness to this boy. Make him a bit darker. There we go, that'll work better for now. And this isn't actually one of those same towers at all. It is more landscape. You've been tricked. Yeah, so yeah, this is set exactly at 0. Let's raise it to like 150. It's just kind of an elevated little island. Actually, since we can jump in Lyra... Actually, I'll keep it 150. I don't want to put something too elevated that the AI won't be able to get to. And I'll leave the edges rough because it's supposed to be just like a little rock in the center. There's like this path that was going to it. I'll just smooth a little bit more. What we'll also do for now is I'll copy this over on top of our landscape stuff here. And let's place that brown on there. I thought my computer froze. Oh my god. I was gonna throw a fit. We're just gonna stretch this over the bottom just to give it a little bit of backdrop. I think we will end up, I don't think we'll do it for the Forgotten City one because it kind of just floats in the cloud void, I feel. But for this one, I think it would be nice to make a very basic mountain vista. Especially since we'll probably just be reusing whatever rock texture we use for this landscape, we'll use for that. But yeah, this is currently what we've got. See, I think we'll have to think about where we want to place pickups with these spawns in mind. It might be nice, we can... Now that I remember game modes exist, because I forgot briefly for one day. We can try like the control point mode maybe, if we're feeling adventurous next week. But the main goals for our next game dev stream, which will be next Wednesday night, is going to be to place pickups, get the health thing working over there, and then as a stretch goal, do some cover revisions also. As a stretch goal, if we have the time, try out the capture point mode and place one at the top of the flag up there. And see how that feels. I'm guessing since this map wasn't designed for it, just out of the gate it won't feel too great, but I have always thought an actual capture to flag mode with this map that has a flag on top of it would obviously be pretty awesome. Yeah, this is looking a lot more like what I thought the blockout of this map would look like, so I would say this was a much more successful stream today. And this plays into the thought of sometimes, you know, if you just aren't figuring stuff out, if you feel like you're forgetting how to do the basic components of your job, if you feel like you're starting to get creatively burnt out but you don't know why, just take a nap. Just take a nap and watch a Nintendo Direct. That cured me, apparently. And I was able to, like, the debugs I did took 5 minutes right before I hopped on stream today, so. The more you know. But yeah, I will take some, let me hide the template stuff. Cool. Let me take some more photos. I will put these on our Miro I did take some photos at the start of stream too to show our blockout. I wouldn't even call it a blockout 1 or blockout 0 progress. I would call this blockout 1. And then I'd call next week our blockout 2. And then after that, yeah, the plan is next week to do a blockout 2 if I'm aiming for Wednesday night, and I should be in town because again, we'll be hopefully reacting to the Nintendo Direct unless something comes up with my cat. We are going to another vet appointment next week. But otherwise, planning on reacting to the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, so I should be around to do the game dev stuff later that evening. But depending on how stuff goes, if that gets pushed back to Thursday or if we just have to cancel stream next week, that could be a possibility depending on how this vet stuff plays out. But if so, regardless, our next game dev weeknight will be the blockout 2 and gameplay stuff. And then we will jump into some art pass stuff for April and the first half of May. We will be working on art passing both this and the Forgotten City map that I can pull up here actually. And I say art passing quotation marks because I'm not an artist. I'm simply a level designer, but I want to take my stuff a little further past the blockout stage. I want to brush up on some basic art pass things. So we've done a basic like asset placing thing for this, and we've done some texture materials. So this is kind of starting to look on par with the 3DS version. So I could just say, hey, it's complete and call it there. But I do want to press a little more. I think some foliage and some trees would be nice. There is this like dirt and like some worn out decals that I want to place around the place. And I also just want to know what other things I can do to, yeah, break this up visually and make it like really look put together and stuff. But because I'm not good at art passes, I'm just giving us for both maps the best we can do on each of them throughout April and the first half of May. Second half of May, we'll take a brief break from game dev stuff because Fantasy Life I will be coming out. And I've been waiting for that one also a very long time. I am worried it might have optimization issues on release, judging from some of the clips we've seen. It could suck. I'll be honest, it could suck. But if I'm the only one playing it, so be it. I'll be the only one playing it. I'm like, I've waited this long, I'm gonna play the game a lot. So we'll do a few gaming chill streams and see how we feel with those, and then we'll see if we want to do like 2 weeknight streams when June rolls around, seeing how things are going. If we wanted to both be game dev, be 1 gaming and 1 game dev. If we want to just stick to 1 weeknight stream a week, we'll figure that all out in the summer. We'll also get back to our Fortnite creative streams a bit in the summer, so we'll alternate between doing a Fortnite creative map and coming back and blocking out another arena and go back and forth between the two for the summer and the fall here. But yeah, that is all the yapping from me. I think, let me see, is anyone we know streaming tonight? I know it's a bit quiet this morning. Yeah, I think it could be another quiet night here, it's looking like, so I'm gonna go ahead and ramp down and sign off for a bit. I hope to see some of you all for the next game dev stream next week. Otherwise, we've got like 3 streams coming up in between then. So Sims 3 is our next one on Saturday afternoon, Nintendo Hype stream with Tears of the Kingdom on Sunday, and then that Nintendo Direct 2 reaction, or Nintendo Switch 2 Direct 2 reaction Wednesday morning. But yeah, get some sleep everybody. I'll leave you with the tunes and I'll see you guys on the next one.